everybody, my name is Sherry. Welcome to my stamp studio. The July is getting close to being over, and I told you I would do some Christmas in July. I missed July 25th. Life's been a tad bit crazy around here, but I will get at least 2 Christmas things in before the month is over, and maybe one more. So we'll see. Today I'm going to use Trucking Along. So before I start, I do know that the punch is on back order, but because I know it's on back order, that means 2 things. One, I know lots of you already have it, right? Because the only way we sold out of it is that lots of people already bought it. So maybe you already have the punch and you're just watching. The other thing is that while the punch is great and it will be back in October, sometime in October, maybe sometimes sooner, sometimes they give us worst case scenario when things surprise us. For the card I'm going to do today, the only reason you would need the punch, and you'll see, is to punch the body out of the truck, and we all have scissors. So you can cut it. Sometimes I have dies or punches for something, and my scissors are sitting around on the table, so I just go ahead and cut it anyway. So you can design your Christmas cards if you want. You can make all of your Christmas cards, and then in October, order the punch and punch out all the trucks, so you wouldn't have to cut them. But they could all be colored in and ready. So I do know it's on back order. It will be back in October. The stamps are available, and I'm also going to use the ribbon and a folder from the online exclusives. So obviously I'm going to use the Christmas parts of this. I did want to show you real quick, and this is like a special thing because for my card club this month, Trucking Along, and lots of the bundles went to my card club people, so I know they already all have it. It was a bonus project, so I'm going to show you real quick. Don't ask for the instructions. Don't ask for the tutorial. This is a card club perk only. So in this one, you can see I did use the truck builder. So for that, you would need the punch. And then this one here is, this paper is also on back order now. I guess I just picked really good things for club. But those are 2 other ideas, one using the builder punch and one that's going to be a little bit similar to what I'm doing today. So for those of you in card club who have it, you'll be easily be able to replicate this by just adding a couple of different things, because we're going to use a couple of the same techniques. So let's get going. We'll do our truck first. So I'll stamp my truck. Just going to stamp it in black, and it's thundering. I was hoping that hopefully I don't lose power, although I guess that would just mean that the lights would go out, right? I could keep filming because my phone is charged, but you may hear some rumbles. So we have that. I'm going to, let's go ahead and do no, I can't do all the black, so we'll just put it up. We'll just do this first. So to color my truck in, this is Crumb Cake. I am going to use the new set of watercolor pencils. Mine are already getting dirty. I love watercolor pencils. Now, if you have the old ones, they'll work too. I'm going to use Pecan Pie, which is one of the new colors in that, because I love pecan pie, and I love new pencils. So I'm going to start with the white, and I'm going to color in the windows, and this will just brighten up this card a little bit because there's actually no white cardstock anywhere on this, which is different than the one that I did for club, because we do have a little bit of white that makes an appearance on that card. And then let's do espresso is darker than pecan pie, so I'm going to use the espresso for my highlight color. And you can see I'm pressing pretty hard. I do press hard on my pencils, although I have had my original set of whatever current ones retired. I've had them for years. My white ones are pretty much worn down, but they're not worn down, maybe half. That's the other reason I chose this set, because it has a fresh new white pencil. But the watercolor pencils are so inexpensive. You can take them anywhere because you don't need anything. So here's the pecan pie. So I'm going to pull in the shading color. You can see I'm getting a little bit lighter along the larger the section goes. Just a little bit less pumpkin pie. Also kind of gives it a fun rust feeling. And then I'm going to use just a tad bit of black on my wheel. Just kind of pull it in that way. And then on my basic gray, I'm going to fill the rest of that in. And get my bumpers. So there is that. That's all we need for those. So see, you could do all of your trucks and just have them ready to punch out if you get the punch if you don't have it yet. Now to color this in, I am going to use, you can use a blender pen, you can use water and a paintbrush. You could color the whole thing so it would be dark if you did it this way, but I'm going to use a Stella. And I'm just going to start here in this middle section, and when it picks up the ink, it will smear it all around. I am going to stamp that Farm Fresh on here, but I wanted it over the top of the Stella, so it was a little bit easier to read because the Stella is so shiny, but you can see this just smears it so nicely, and it makes our truck, maybe it's Santa's truck or something. We have a nice festive little truck. Oh, hear the thunder. Maybe it won't be 100 degrees when the rain goes through. That's another good reason to do a little bit of Christmas in July. I know so many of us are at that 100-degree mark or even hotter. Some of my, whoops, just got a big pop of it there. And I didn't even squeeze. Let's get my wheels. And then I'm just going to move this aside to dry. Then we're going to create just a little background piece for our card. This set has a tree that goes in the back of the truck. So it doesn't have a bottom. This is a similar technique than we did in Card Club. So you can see it's designed to go in the truck. I want a forest of Christmas trees. So I'm just going to flip it this way, and then we'll work with that little missing piece. Our card base is Old Olive, so let's use some Old Olive ink. Stampin' Up! Just asked what was the most used color in the current catalog. I would have guessed Calypso Coral because there's a lot of it in there, but it's Old Olive. But isn't Old Olive one of the colors that's been the most used forever? So I'm going to just stamp and kind of cover everything up. You can get at least 3, and if you hop on it, you can get 4 versions of Old Olive. Do this one here, and then go back over and put one right here that's not quite as dark as that one. And we're just going to fill this whole thing in like that. So we're just building a nice little background, and we don't have to worry about the fact that our tree's cut off, because we're going to take care of that bottom too. There's a couple ways you can do it. We made a fence in Card Club. This is not quite the same, but it's still effective. So that looks pretty good. Now we have a forest of trees. Now I'm going to take, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. I'm going to do the 2-inch circle. I tried the 2 3/8 and it was too big. Let's punch that out there. I could have probably punched my tree out too if my Stella hadn't dripped some glitter. But there's nothing wrong with your Stella dripping glitter. It just makes it all shinier, right? It's just going to take it a second longer to dry. I've made a mess of my stamp pad. So there we have that. That's all the green we need. Now let's get the 2-step, because this is a 2-step stamp. The only one that I want to be 2-step though is the one in my truck. The rest of them we're just going to leave. Otherwise it would lose a little bit of the illusion of the forest. Oops, I still need this. Well, I'm going to need it again because I'm not stamping. Well, I might. Oh, no. The power just glitched. Nothing like Midwest summers, huh? Wishing you a festive Christmas. I hope that's not crooked. It's a little bit crooked. It'll be okay. The weather's throwing me because I don't want to deal with that right now. And the Stella. Between this Stella, I'd rather have a glitter problem than a storm problem. So let's get our Farm Fresh that goes right there on the door of our truck for Farm Fresh Christmas trees. We'll see if there's too much Stella on there. Nope, it worked. You will be able to see the Stella on this. I'm sure sometimes I'm worried you can't see it, but that's going to be seen. Now let's see how much, if this is still dripping. I didn't even squeeze it. I'm going to add some little bits of snow to my trees. Not all of them, just a few. Just add a little bit of glisten. And instead of coloring them all, you can see I'm kind of just swishing it on to follow the design of the tree itself. And then this one over here will color the whole thing in. And now my Stella decides to not drip. This isn't even a new one, but we did use it at camp, so there's that. I'm going to grab my white pencil again because where this truck is, there's snow on the ground. It's not 100 degrees and getting ready to storm. This is someplace out in the Rockies or Montana, someplace where they're growing farm fresh trees. We grow farm fresh Christmas trees in Indiana too, but there's no snow on the ground today. So now we've just added a little bit of snow to the bottom. Now let's punch this out. Once it punches, I'm not worried about the Stella. It's going to take a bunch of it off. I have found if you do have the punch and you're using it and you're putting something in the bed of your truck, it's better to pull this line all the way down and then let the excess, because you know there's always a tiny bit of a border around a punched stamp. So have this meet there. That way when you go to put whatever it is, it doesn't have a gap in your truck bed. Then I'm going to take, I let that dry for a second. This is one of our new online exclusives, and this is a new one, the Real Red and Gold ribbon. Isn't that fabulous? Now you see it's going to pull all that extra Stella in. And it's also going to serve as a barrier to the bottom of our trees. So now nobody knows. Well, if you have the stamp, you know. But nobody that you're giving this to that doesn't have the stamp knows that we were stamping with half a tree. This one here. And then I also used this folder, which is an online exclusive from the last release, but still available. It comes in a set of 3. I love this. It matches the ribbon really well because it's got polka dots. So I just ran a piece of Old Olive. This is 4 by 5 1/4. Old Olive card base. So I thought about making my truck red, but I really wanted that ribbon to just pop and to be the highlight. So I just made brown truck. So this is kind of a false front, although it is smaller. I wanted to have a little bit of that flat border. And then my other piece is cut, the crumb cake that I just stamped on is cut 5 1/2. So it will go the whole, my hands are dirty too. Stella on my hands. I got black ink on my hands. This is cut 5 1/2. So it will reach the whole way. So it's going to border over that little bit of that there. So put it just a fraction high because our truck is going to go at the bottom. And then let's add our little truck here. I'm going to put the truck on so my truck isn't crooked. I'm going to attach it on with dimensions. These are obviously from a kit. Speaking of, kits go on sale up to 30% off starting August 1st. So I do have a couple of kits I'd like to show you, but I won't show them to you before August 1st because I got to get these Christmas cards in. It's nice and sparkly, and you can see the Farm Fresh stamped fine. So the 2 3/8 inch was too big. This one, your truck goes over a little bit, but I really liked it like that. Just add this here. You know, my truck's straight. If I'd added the circle before my truck, it might have been crooked. Well, maybe it's straight. There's bad shadows. The sun went away. I adjusted my lights before I started filming with sun coming in my window, and now we have no sun. And then for my embellishments, I'm going to use, it says red and green adhesive backed pearls. I think that they're actually called festive pearls. I think my wrapper may be from when they were called the other thing. And I'm going to use the gold, obviously, to pull in the gold. And I'm going to just use 2, which I never use even numbers, except if you have 2 wheels. Because it makes perfect little head hubcaps. Isn't that fun? Even though it's super Stella-y, it has lots of glitter on this one. Let's see one where my pen hadn't leaked, which is weird because I just made this one and I used the pen the whole time. And then it decides to leak right in the middle of that one. So that you can get the truck stamp set currently. You can get the ribbon, you can get the folder. The only thing you'd have to wait on is that punch. I think everything else on this card is not on back order. So there's not very many things. Sometimes people think we have a lot of things on back order, but there are thousands of things that we sell. And on any given day, there's maybe 10 to 20 things on back order, maybe not even that many sometimes. So it is like a fraction of a percent of stuff that you can't get. It tends to be what's popular. So everybody notices a little bit more. So here, there you go. I'm going to be showing you the Very Merry stamp, which I think is back in. I should have checked for sure, but I realized I just checked about the truck punch to make sure that it was still gone. And I didn't see the Very Merry on there. So maybe it's available. That will be my next Christmas one. And we got through without a storm. Everybody have a great day. Bye.